When movies are executed well, it's hard to find their faults. Despite the excellent acting, cinematography, choreography, writing, and directing, Dune Part Two still has its flaws. As a direct follow-up to his previous installment, Denis Villeneuve continues the story of Paul Atreides as he joins forces with Chani and the Fremen to exact revenge against the Harkonnen, the Emperor, and all those who conspired in the destruction of his family. With a runtime of 166 minutes, Dune Part 2 carries on Villeneuve's adaptation of Frank Herbert's epic sci-fi novel. But before we get to the review, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, hitting the notification bell will alert you when we drop new content. If you've already seen the movie and don't need a recap of the events, feel free to skip ahead to the film commentary section of this review. Now, let's get critical. After House Atreides is destroyed by House Harkonnen, Princess Irulan, daughter of Emperor Shaddam IV, recounts the events of her father's betrayal. On Arrakis, Stilgar's Fremen troops, along with Paul Atreides and his pregnant mother, Lady Jessica, defeat a Harkonnen patrol. When Jessica and Paul arrive at Siege Tabor, some Fremen suspect they are spies, while others believe in the prophecy that a mother and son from the outer world will bring prosperity to Arrakis. Stilgar tells Jessica she must succeed Siege Tabor's dying Reverend Mother by drinking the Water of Life, a poison fatal to males and untrained women. Jessica's Bene Gesserit training enables her to survive and inherit the memories of all past Reverend Mothers. The liquid also prematurely awakens the mind of her unborn daughter, Aaliyah, allowing Jessica to communicate with her. They agree to focus on convincing the skeptical Northern Fremen of the prophecy. Initially doubtful, Chani and her friend Shishakli start to respect Paul when he declares he intends to fight alongside the Fremen, not rule them. Paul and Chani fall in love as Paul fully embraces Fremen culture, becoming a Fedaykin fighter, riding a sandworm, and raiding Harkonnen spice operations. Paul adopts the Fremen names Usul and Muad'Dib. In response to the continued spice raids, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen replaces his nephew Rabban with the more cunning Feyd-Rautha as the ruler of Arrakis. Lady Margot Fenring, a Bene Gesserit, is sent to evaluate Feyd-Rautha as a prospective Kwisatz Haderach and secure his genetic lineage. Meanwhile, Jessica travels south to unite Fremen fundamentalists who strongly believe in the prophecy, while Paul stays in the north, fearing his visions of an apocalyptic holy war will come true if he goes south as a messiah. During a raid on a smuggler spice harvester, Paul reunites with Gurney Halleck, who shows him House Atreides' hidden atomic warhead stockpile. Feyd-Rautha attacks the northern Fremen, destroying Siege Tabor, killing Shishakli, and forcing Paul and the survivors to journey south. Upon arrival, Paul drinks the Water of Life and falls into a coma. Although initially angered, Chani is convinced by Jessica to mix her tears with the liquid, awakening Paul. Now with clairvoyance across space and time, Paul sees a path to victory and learns that Jessica is Baron Harkonnen's daughter. Paul meets with the Southern Fremen War Council, galvanizes them, and declares himself the Lisan al-Gaib. The Fremen launch an offensive against Shaddam's forces, leading to Paul's victory and capture of Shaddam. Paul challenges Shaddam for the throne, demands to marry Irulan, and kills Feyd-Rautha in a duel, solidifying his rule despite opposition from the great houses. Director Denis Villeneuve is an expert at crafting films with exceptional timing and pace. Several moments in Dune Part 2 showcase his masterful vision with breathtaking shots. Principal photography took place in Budapest, Italy, Jordan, and Abu Dhabi between July and December 2022, much of it in desert landscapes. Villeneuve strikes a balance between foreground and background information, giving the audience moments of scale and grandeur without any shot feeling pretentious. As a fan of Frank Herbert's sci-fi series, Villeneuve found the project particularly challenging. Notable scenes such as Feyd-Rautha's gladiator scene were shot with a specially designed black and white infrared camera, thanks to cinematographer Greg Fraser. Many dusk scenes, especially those involving Paul and Chani's romance, were filmed in Jordan during golden hour, allowing only a brief window for filming. Chalamet's sandworm riding scene took over 3 months to film in short intervals, with the actors having to visualize and imitate riding the sandworm without any actual reference. The chemistry and dedication of the cast and crew further enhanced the film. Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya reprised their roles alongside Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, and Josh Brolin. The film introduces Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan and Austin Butler as Feyd-Rautha. The cast praised the experience on set, noting how seamlessly the characters' arcs continued from the last film, a rarity in sequels. Villeneuve's intimate direction made the actors feel well-guided, contributing to the movie's success. Austin Butler's portrayal of Feyd-Rautha as a psychopathic narcissist provides a compelling counter to Paul's ascendancy. Both characters are charismatic, cunning young noblemen with elite education and combat training. However, while Paul shows compassion and loyalty, Fade is driven solely by self-interest and power. Butler and Chalamet trained separately with a Kali instructor in Los Angeles for the cinematic battle, eagerly practicing once they met in Budapest. Despite its accolades, Dune Part 2 faced backlash for its use and lack of representation of Middle Eastern and North African influences. Firvaz Shah of Cosmopolitan UK expressed frustration as a Muslim viewer, stating, "Dune takes a heavy amount of inspiration from Islam, Middle Eastern, and North African cultures, yet simultaneously erases us from screen." While Villeneuve has expressed admiration for Islamic culture, it's important to note that Frank Herbert's books challenged imperialism following the Algerian War of Independence, and Herbert's editors asked him to tone down the, quote, Muslim flavor of his books. Nevertheless, many viewers see Dune Part 2 as an outstanding follow-up to Part 1, and the box office numbers support this view. With a budget of $190 million, Dune Part 2 grossed over $710 million, making it the highest-grossing film of 2024 and surpassing the success of its predecessor. The movie is fantastic by most standards, especially considering today's relatively low bar. From the acting to the writing and directing, I thoroughly enjoyed all aspects of the film. One thing I hope Denis Villeneuve explores is the world beyond House Atreides, House Harkonnen, and Arrakis. With the arrival of the Great Houses to challenge Paul's ascension, we might get a broader picture of the political machinations and interpersonal struggles between the houses. So far, the films haven't explained why the Harkonnens and Atreides hate each other, which I hope will be addressed in future installments. Having done some research about what's to come, I'm excited about the third film, Dune Messiah, as it promises to conclude Paul's story. Spoiler alert, it doesn't seem to be a happy ending for him. Overall, I give Dune Part 2 a critical rating of A.